Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Cyborg Superman. Not only that, but this is the Platinum Chase variant. I think this guy looks really cool. In fact, I think he looks better than the regular version, but we'll see how I feel when I have him in hand. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Cody, one of my subscribers. He mentioned to me he worked at Target, and I asked if he'd keep an eye out for the Platinum Cyborg Superman, and sure enough, about 2 days later, he messaged me and said he got it for me. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Cyborg Superman, McFarlane Platinum Edition. Here he is in the package. No traditional accessories. We have a flight stand and a collector's card. One side of the package, Cyborg Superman for the New 52, although I'm not 100% sure if the Platinum one is from the New 52 also. Other side, Cyborg Superman. At the bottom, there's his barcode, if that helps anybody. And at the back side, here he is posed up from the comics. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He doesn't come with any traditional accessories, but he has a flight stand and a collector's card. Before we take a look at that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Cyborg Superman, and this is the second version. This guy's real name is Zor-El, and he's the uncle of Clark Kent. When Krypton got destroyed, he escaped, and Brainiac sort of altered him into this cyborg-type villain. Now, the original version, his name was Hank Henshaw. That was the one from the Reign of the Supermen. And I believe Lex Luthor altered him to become the Cyborg Superman, which was originally a good guy, but then quickly turned into a villain. Now, I believe the original version of the Cyborg Superman, the one McFarlane made, that one is also Superman's uncle, but that one I believe is based off the New 52, and I think this one is based off his look in the Rebirth comics, which I think is really cool. So let's take a look. Starting with his face here, it has that Terminator T-800 look. Metal exposed under human flesh, some of it missing. You can see his teeth and jaw exposed. It looks creepy and it looks really good. As we go further down, metal on his neck, and you can see the robotic parts with skin on top. Big, giant robotic claw arm. And I wish he had an alternate hand to replace this giant claw thing. Still, it does look cool. It's got sort of red muscles underneath the robotic parts and spikes all over it. It looks like a single jointed elbow on this one, and a standard double jointed on this. This one has flesh on his hand, the other one had metal. You can see all the metal exposed underneath the Superman suit, and it looks good. Sort of half racked, half exposed, and half normal. He's got these weird feet. We can see, looks like almost just 2 toes. Looks like double jointed knees. His cape has a little bit damaged, kind of tattered up. As a whole, he looks pretty good. You can see on the blue there, it's not purely solid blue. It has like a dark wash on top of it, so pretty nice job. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, which I think looks fantastic. It's a blend of Superman and the Terminator. Now check out his accessories, starting off with the flight stand. It comes in 2 separate pieces. When put together, it's going to look like this. At the base, it says DC, it's transparent, it's got one peg with a peg on his feet. Then it has this post that comes up to the clamp. The clamp can rotate. It's hinged and can open to hold your figure. Here's an example of that flight stand in action, holding that Cyborg Superman in midair. And now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of this Cyborg Superman from the comics. Cyborg Superman, this is from the New 52, which is what the original version is. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Here's his Platinum version's collector's card on the left, next to the original versions on the right. They are 100% identical, and I think that sucks. They used to make it a little bit different, like have silver on the border. They should still do something like that. Now to check out the differences between this Platinum Cyborg Superman and the regular version. And it looks like everything besides the head is the same sculpt, same articulation, just a different paint job. So let's take a closer look. So, like I said, starting out with the heads, here's the original version. The entire top part of his head's intact, but the mouth and jaw is exposed as metal. And this guy here, it looks like a little bit more like the T-800 for the Terminator movies. The top of the head here is exposed, the side of the forehead, and the mouth is sort of semi-exposed, but you can see some flesh covering it up. Definitely different there, and different there. And it's not just painted, it's actually sculpted different. The neck, part flesh, all metal. The Superman outfit, he has a lot more in the Platinum version that's still intact. Half blue, half metal. This one is pretty much all metal. Then the arm here, you can see some of the blue suit on the outside. And this one here, you can see none of the blue suit, just metal. And you can see what looks like sort of muscle type material underneath. This side, totally done in blue, flesh hand. This side, it's blue with some metal pieces and a metal hand. The claw itself, very similar, just red versus blue. And then his legs here, this guy, totally blue. This guy, the top part is blue, and then he has sort of red boots, and you can see some metal exposed on the side there. So a considerable amount of differences here, but man, I really like that guy's face. I think it looks a lot better. It looks really cool. Now, one of the biggest complaints that I've seen, both for myself and other people about this Cyborg Superman, is his giant claw-like arm. It'd be nice if he had a different arm, or at least a different hand to swap out so he could look a little bit more normal. Yes, he is accurate to the source material, but if you want to swap out his arm, there are a couple options here. We have the Page Puncher Atom and the Zack Snyder's Justice League Cyborg figure. Let's see how those arms fit on this guy. Here's the Cyborg Superman with the Atom's arm on there. Similar texturing to the arm. Of course, it would need a different paint job, but that's true for both these figures' arms. And here he is with the Cyborg's arm attached. Looks probably even a little bit better than the Atom's. Both will be a pretty good fit. A little bit of paint required. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his lack of accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.6 inches tall, which can translate to just over 19 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course you can rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that far. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out about that far. Both shoulders about the same thing. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist, it can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. This one here has a single jointed elbow because it's a totally different design. The wrist can still rotate and is hinged. In his torso, he has a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion. We get a little bit more to the torso than the waist of this guy. Legs, complete as a splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is minimal, but there. Legs go forward about that far. Back not much. Double jointed knees below that. And then his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt. Rock. And of course, toe articulation. Here's a close-up look at the Cyborg Superman. Here he is, hovering above the skies of Metropolis. And then here's the team of Superman replacements from the Reign of Superman: Steel, Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, and Superboy. And then here's a look at both versions of the Cyborg Superman above the skies of Metropolis. Now let's check them out. Next we have some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's Cyborg Superman next to the rest of the Supermen from Reign of the Supermen. We have Con-El Superboy, Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, and Steel. Now, none of these are the versions from Reign of Superman. They're all from the New 52 or the Rebirth. Superboy doesn't look that different. He's got the spikes on him, doesn't have glasses, hair a little bit different. They could easily use that base body and make us a Superboy from that version. Cyborg Superman is considerably different. They probably have to use a Superman figure, give him a different head to make the original Cyborg Superman. Eradicator literally just needs a repaint. They don't really have to do any new parts. Steel kind of looks good as he is for that version. They can repaint a little bit. I would be shocked if they don't eventually do a Reign of the Superman box set of 4 or possibly 5 figures with Superman. Not a lot of new tooling will be required. They could charge pretty high price on that thing, and you know it would sell out like crazy. Now, originally they all started off as sort of good guys replacing Superman, but didn't take very long for Cyborg Superman to become villain. But the original Superboy, Eradicator of Steel were all heroes. But these particular versions, Superboy's a good guy, Cyborg Superman and Eradicator are both villains, and Steel is also a hero. And out of those figures, both Cyborg Superman and Steel had Platinum Chase variants. They could have easily done a Platinum Chase variant on the Eradicator, just given him the standard Reign of the Superman paint job. Missed opportunity. And I would say probably the best Superman to fit in with these guys is going to be this Death and Return of Superman. This is the collector's version, and this is the big, giant, buff, swole Superman with the mullet. 90s Superman, if there is ever one. Here's the Cyborg Superman, next to both the Superman vs. Doomsday and the Return of Superman figures, kind of like the Death and Return of Superman figures. Here are all the different Superman rogues that McFarlane has made. There was once upon a time where we just had 1 or 2, and we didn't have the main ones. I would say Superman's main rogues are Darkseid, General Zod, and Lex Luthor. And there is a more traditional Darkseid that's starting to be released, and I'll have mine, I'm sure, in the near future. The General Zod and Lex Luthor are pretty normal versions, so I appreciate that. In front of you, from the top, left to right, we have Bizarro, Brainiac, Ultraman, General Zod, Lex Luthor, Metallo, Atomic Skull, and then Eradicator, Calabac, Darkseid, Cyborg Superman, Doomsday, Mongol, and Superboy Prime. Now, they've covered the main ones. What are the main Superman villains we're missing? Well, I mean, maybe a better version of Metallo, Parasite, Toyman. I mean, if those are our main missing Superman rogues, they've done a pretty good job covering the basics at this point. So, here are all the different McFarlane DC Cyborg figures they've made. And I don't mean Cyborg, the DC character, but the definition of a cyborg is basically a human augmented with robot parts. Both Cyborg, Cyborg Superman, and Murder Machine here all fit that criteria. And the Cyborg Superman here is a pretty tall figure. Here he is next to a couple of other tall McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. He's much bigger than the Hush Batman, which is a tall figure in his own, but not as big as the Page Puncher Armored Superman. And since this Cyborg Superman is a Platinum Chase variant, I wanted to take a look at all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants out there. Here are all the sort of older Platinum Chase variants. Gold, bronze, unpainted, and then some newer versions, and then 2 of each of the new Collector's Edition waves. 2 Clock King, 2 Ragman, 2 Red Hood, and actually just 1 Agent Liberty. So 13 Platinums that are out, and there's a whole bunch more on the cusp of coming out as well. McFarlane, slow your roll on those Platinums, please. And here are all the more recent Platinum Chase variants. McFarlane has really upped their production on Platinum figures, and that is not a good thing. There are a whole bunch more on the horizon coming out. The black and white 7-inch scale Adam West Batman. We have the blue Ben Affleck Batman from The Flash. We have the black suit Lucius Fox single figure. Really excited for that one. Then we have Hugo Strange's Batman, as well as Bullseye Batman. And after that, we have a wave consisting with Question and a couple of other figures. And I'm sure there are going to be a ton of other random Platinum Chase variants out there. It's just a little much, making it really hard for collectors to give McFarlane their money. And there are currently 13 different McFarlane Platinum Chase variants that are out right now that I'm currently looking for. 2 of the 1966 Alan Napier Alfred Platinum figures. 2 of whatever figures at Platinum in the DC Direct, the new Batman Adventures wave. The wave that has Bane, Catwoman, Nightwing, and Joker. I'm guessing the Platinum's going to be Catwoman, but I haven't seen anything confirmed yet. 2 of those. That is now 4. 2 of the Adam West 7-inch scale Platinum figures. It's a black and white version. Now check them out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. here he is, next to the most recent Platinum Wave. Sportsmaster, New 52 Reverse Flash, and Manhunter. Here's Cyborg Superman, next to the 5th McFarlane Collector's Edition wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Sergeant Rock, Manga Batman, and Superboy. And here he is, next to the 2nd digital wave, Green Arrow, Superman, and the Atom. Then, with the Entertainment Earth exclusive Sketch Hush Batman, and now with the DC Rebirth Tim Drake Robin, and the New 52 Cyborg Superman. Here's Cyborg Superman, next to the Target exclusive Jim Gordon and his rookie Mega Figure versus Mr. Bloom 2-pack. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Metallo and Fire. Then, next to the Nightfall Batman vs. Bane 2-pack. And now, with the Dark Knight trilogy, Morgan Freeman, Lucius Fox. And finally, next to the Joker and Punchline 2-pack. Now it's time to mount next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise. In case you don't know which lines you can mix him with, since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and some Diamond Select toys, here's Cyborg Superman next to a sprinkled donut. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts action figures. So overall, this is a very nice Cyborg Superman figure. It is still not my preferred version. I'd love to make the one from Reign of the Superman, but this is a completely different version, and I'm going to enjoy having both of them eventually. I do think this Platinum Chase variant is much better than the regular one. The face just looks so good, and the differences on the arm, the sort of muscle mass underneath, looks fantastic. I love the costume differences too. One has red boots, one has all blue. His accessories are non-existent. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. Articulation is pretty much everything you'd expect from a modern McFarlane figure. Now if I were to rate this guy, I don't remember what I gave the other one. I'd probably give him like a 7.5 or something. After having him for a while, I would bring that down to like a 7, and this guy definitely would get a 7.5. I want to give this guy an 8, and he really probably deserves that. It's a really nice looking figure. I actually like the arm this time, whereas in the past I didn't like it. Yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. Very nice variant, better than the original, and I appreciate that. This one has that Terminator look that the original version from Reign of the Superman had, and that's one of my favorite things about him. Really enjoying this figure, and sometimes the Platinums are just gimmicky, like a black and white figure, or Toy Soldier version Sergeant Rock, etc. This is a rare occasion where it's actually much better than the regular version. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.